It's Loving the Strange with Carrie Jones and Sean Farrar. Loving the Strange, a podcast for weirdos and those who want to be weirder. Embrace the strange. New episodes every Saturday, live streaming Fridays. Loving the Strange. Check us out. Hey.
What's up, baby?
Okay.
Huh?
Welcome to Loving the Strange, babe.
Welcome to Loving the Strange. I'm going to go ahead and make my disclaimer on behalf of Carrie, huh? Should I?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Huh?
No.
Okay.
So this episode of Loving the Strange is about embarrassing moments in which I am living one right now.
You're living one. Why are you living?
All right, I'm gonna
an embarrassing moment, baby?
Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with this. All right, ready?
Yeah,
ready, everybody?
I'll be the judge. Let me have the ding ding bell.
Hey, John Bell soon.
I know.
Speaking of bells.
In time.
Okay, so I am a culturally very Portuguese because
what does that mean?
It means my family is a cluster F word of ethnicities, and I turned out to. Sean just left. He just freaking left the podcast. But my world is a cluster of ethnicities. Turns out my dad's not my dad. My stepdad is like the family that kind of raised me, and they're all Portuguese, right? And for a very long time, I thought my mom had an affair with my stepdad before I was alive, and I was Portuguese. Turns out, not quite so true.
No, she had an affair with somebody else.
Yay, mama. She's dead, so we can talk about her.
Oh, maybe both of them?
Possibly. Possibly. My
mama.
mama.
When chicken dinner, I knocked her up first.
You're such a dick. Anyways, I don't even remember my point anymore.
I got you.
My point is that Sean gave me some port, which is a very Portuguese drink, right? Like my Aunt Rosie, my Aunt Mary Jean, my Aunt Shirley, my Aunt Doris, my Aunt Lorraine.
Not Portuguese.
All drink this port, right? And if I have any port, I am drunk as a skunk. And that is what you're witnessing right now. This is Carrie Jones drunk. I am not a respectable member of the community.
Nicer. She accidentally drank too much port.
Any port makes me drunk. I don't know what it is with port, but like basically, you give me like this much port, whoo, I'm just gone.
All right, so now we got that out of the way.
Yes, it's embarrassing.
We're gonna talk. Oh, is this one? This is not one of your most embarrassing moments.
Kind of is.
No.
All right, I think the truth about me, Shawnee, is that every moment I'm alive is kind of embarrassing.
Hey, girl, that's not true at all.
No, it's pretty true.
It's not true.
It is pretty true. So no, John Bell is here. John says, just in time. Dee is here. And Dee says, hey. And Amanda's here. And she says, hello, Amanda. Hello, Amanda, Dee, and John. So sorry that you're witnessing me at my worst.
I'm just saying her worst. She was laying on the floor earlier in the bathroom.
Not true. He's such a dick. I don't know why I stay married to him. So Sean loves to compound my most. I said you love to compound my most embarrassing moments, which is the topic of this podcast. Which you promised after you gave me that port that you would be in control and in charge.
And yet here you are taking control already. But that's all right. That's the way it goes. That's what our life's about, baby.
Bed.
What? That's why I make dinner. I'm running around the kitchen barefoot making dinner.
He is.
Doing dishes.
He's my little pregnant wife.
I can't get pregnant, thank God.
Okay, can we just have a moment of reality here?
What?
You would be the happiest pregnant person in the whole world.
I don't know about that.
All right,
I don't like big bellies on myself.
I don't think that's true. So here's the truth. Ready? Shh. Sean. Shh. Ready?
You just insulted me so hard.
I don't care. Ready?
You see how she gets when she's drunk? It's evil.
My point is that Sean is a very masculine man. Like, he presents as like terrifyingly large. He's like 6'6" or something ridiculous. He's very broad-shouldered. He's got that military like cop presence going on. It's just like part of who he is. But underneath all of that is a man who wants to breastfeed a baby.
You've never been more wrong in your life.
So right. You just tuned.
I can't even handle it when you nibble on my boobies.
Embarrassed to admit it. So, anyways, Amanda, who is awesome, says, would you like to read this?
Life fractures us all into little pieces. It harms us, but it's how we glue those fractures back together that makes us stronger. Huh? Who said that? Who made up that line?
I wrote that line.
Yeah, you did.
I know.
And that happens to be Amanda's favorite author. And that's her favorite line.
Amanda, I feel like I'm just disappointing you right now because of the port.
It's all right. Don't worry. Carrie doesn't get drunk very often. She has not been drunk more than 3 times this week.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
That's so mean. So mean, Amanda. Amanda, I'm so glad you like that quote. I feel all vaguely fractured right now. And
Amanda just said the sweetest thing.
And Amanda said, "You can't disappoint me." That may be true, Amanda, but right now I'm disappointing myself and probably all of my Portuguese aunts because it's bad. Dee said he's a talent. He knows who he is. Dee,
no, he is who he is.
That is so true. So true.
Hey, knock it off, dog.
Oh, Amanda, if you get into all right, Amanda, for those of you who are listening after the fact, Amanda said I might get it. I think I might get it into a tattoo. And Amanda, if you do, can you please send it to me?
That'd be quite the tattoo.
That'd be beautiful.
Like serious.
I know.
That'd be a good one.
So beautiful. And apologies, we're watching Poggy, our puppy.
Yeah.
Who has some issues. And also, she's a rescue dog. And
no, that's not our dog, baby.
Poggy?
This dog right here is not. We're not watching.
I was going to explain about the other dog booth.
I'm sorry.
So, our other dog with us right now is Mr. Murphy. And he is our grand dog. And he also has issues. He's on a lot of Prozac right now. And he barks a lot.
He barks at everything.
He's very... I feel like in the dog world, since our theme for this podcast is embarrassing
He's
moments.
high context.
No, Poggy's high context. But Mr. Murphy...
That's true.
Mr. Murphy is... he presents as a kind of tough-looking mutt. Like, he's black lab, he's Roddy, he's a little chow. You, think he's, a toughie. But he's not.
No, he's not.
He's a little sweetie.
You can hardly get him outside when it's precipitating of any sort.
He's lived his whole life in Washington, D.C., and now he's in Maine, right? Maine's really different from D.C., and there's no gunshots typically here on a regular basis, but there is
Unless you live out in the woods.
But there is snow, and he doesn't know what to do with that. And there's the UPS drivers at your front door versus at your apartment complex. He doesn't know what to do with that. And he's working through it. So he's going to probably bark a couple times during this podcast, and we're not going to be embarrassed on behalf of Mr. Murphy. We're just going to love him.
I might yell at him, but I'm not going to be embarrassed. He's from DC. He doesn't know shit.
So, if you have an embarrassing story that you would like to share with us,
just did.
Like Fiona, which Sean will.
I'll address that in a minute.
Share in a second. Again, we're a live podcast, so we can't.
Edit on the fly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say something real quick before I read Fiona's message.
Okay, ready.
I want to say this.
Is it about me drinking port?
Everybody listening.
Because I feel all my Mormon friends are so disappointed.
No, this is to everybody listening, but especially Amanda.
Okay, Amanda. Don't embarrass me more.
I don't know how I seduced this woman and tricked her into being my wife.
It was a trick.
But she's like super amazing, and everything she does, if she wants, she can be successful at it. But the most amazing thing to me as her husband is going online, and I never do this unless it's like accidental.
I'm so embarrassed and I don't even know what you're saying.
Quotes.
Oh, jeez.
And they're all from your books. But that tells me that each and every one of those things that you wrote resonated with somebody enough.
One
they
person.
took the time, that they took the time to copy it online and post about it. And that to me is effing, I'm trying not to cuss this episode. Effing amazing.
I think it would be effing amazing if you didn't cuss this episode. But
I said the S word already, but you didn't catch it.
I didn't. But I also feel really lucky that A, anybody reads any of my books, B, that any of it resonates, and C, like when I write a story, it's kind of like it's just coming through me. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm just like a channel for things. And I feel really lucky that I've ever gotten anything published. I feel so lucky for that next step that like not only did I get things published, but people read it. But that third step of like it resonating or meaning anything to anyone, that's so big and so huge that like my brain shuts off when I try to think about it, because it's like a disconnect, you know, like it's like that's not me. Like I'd be the worst guru in the world because I would be so bad.
That's not true. If she just picked her personality just to
I couldn't.
Be a great guru.
I would be the worst.
It'd be like,
I am the least Jared Leto like human ever because like I can't like just I can't
like,
do that.
It'd be like Kool-Aid Fest 23rd.
No, I can't do that because
anyway,
I love people too much.
That, but she could make people do that.
No, I'm not enough
but
of
she doesn't have an evil bone in her body unless I mess up.
And then it's all evil. And then it's all like Sean Kelly Farrar. What did you do?
Let's go to Fiona.
Okay, so Amanda first off said if she gets the tattoo, she'll let us know. Sweet. And then Fiona, and it's so good to see you again, Fiona, said, Sean?
Grade 12 in the guidance office with boy I had a crush on.
Oh, no.
All of high school.
Oh, no.
And some friends. So there's quite a group in the guidance office. I was wearing a pure white skirt.
Oh,
no. And you all know what's coming. Period arrived. Heavy. I'm just going to say heavily. A girlfriend walked me out of the office right behind me and got outside to go home so no one would see the stain.
No.
Never wore white again.
Okay, ready?
That must have happened to like
everybody.
75% of the women.
Almost every single woman in this world. So I was a grown-up, right? I know I've repressed this story so hard that
I don't think I've even heard it.
You were there.
Oh, okay. Then I repressed it.
And I was at a meeting for the Bar Harbor Kids Book Festival in the Port Authority office in Bar Harbor, Maine. Do you remember this?
Not yet.
And like I got up and I think I got my thingy as like a 30-year-old or 40-year-old.
That's what she calls it.
I call it a thingy. And like one of our friends was like, oh man, what happened? You got a stain on your pants. That was Steve.
Sean better wipe off that chair.
And Sean was like, oh no, it was nothing. It was nothing. Oh yeah, she sat in some chocolate. And it was totally because I got my thingy. You don't remember this?
No, I don't.
And that is why I married him, my friends. That is why. Not only does he not remember it as a moment that was terrifyingly embarrassing for me because I was chairing a committee and got my thingy in the middle of it.
It wasn't for me.
That, like, yeah.
Because as soon as you turned around, I was like, looking mouthing at Steve. You see that?
Oh, I hope you were not.
I'm just kidding.
And it was Steve. It was Steve who said that, so you know you remember.
I don't remember. I promise you.
All right, so my memory is, Fiona, of me getting my thingy-majiggy.
Your majiggy?
My thingy-majiggy. are so convoluted that I don't actually remember if it was me or Kimberly Fredericks who got it at the Bedford Public Library and left blood all over the seat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then that.
Like, I don't remember. Like, the two story, like, I remember people mocking her behind
Yeah.
her back, which is horrible. Horrible. Like, what the heck is wrong with everyone? But I also am like, was that me that got my thingy then?
Oh, well. If you don't remember, it didn't count.
I'm really
there
good at
wasn't
repression.
enough of a trauma to imprint on your brain.
No, that's the problem,
Or
Sean.
it was so much you
Yes.
shifted it to her.
Yes, that's
Which I can
exactly
see with you.
That's exactly it. All right, so John Bell says,
Oh, I remember at one of our friends' weddings, I was sloshed, and someone said I couldn't breakdance spinning on back.
"Oh no,
So with a slick suit on, I dove on the floor spinning,
no,
and,
oh no!"
and slid right across the floor and crashed the table with the wedding cake, and it fell right in my lap on the floor. Cost me about $250 and a long tongue lashing from the bride.
Oh
The groom thought it was awesome.
no! He broke the wedding cake
I guess so.
by breakdancing.
I wasn't there for that one. But you know, we didn't have a lot of cardboard to throw out on the street and practice with.
Okay, I have the most horrifying story, and hopefully my cousin Marky and his sister Rhonda are not listening to this right now.
Yeah.
So my cousin Marky and my sister, his sister Rhonda and brother Brian all grew up, and they were all the children of my Uncle Ronnie and Aunt Patty, right? Aunt Patty was a dance. She owned a dance studio. That was her thing. Like, she was an amazing dancer. She'd been like Miss New Hampshire. She was like 4'11", just this adorable, beautiful human being, right? Married my Uncle Ronnie. Who knows why? Sorry, Uncle Ronnie. So she had this dance studio, right? I got basically kicked out of the dance studio after my inability to do the hokey pokey. But we're just not going to talk about that. So my cousin Marky, you can imagine like the days of Mark Wahlberg, the days of breakdancing, like, and the days of malls. Like, malls were a big thing back then. And my bestie, Jackie Shriver, and I walked into the mall in New Hampshire. We were elitist assholes, even though I was very poor, right? And we walked in, and there is this guy breakdancing in the middle of the courtyard of the mall in New Hampshire on a piece of cardboard. He's doing like that spinny thing on the floor, and then doing like a leap and a jump. He's very good, right? But when he leaps and jumps, I realize that this is my cousin Marky.
Oh, I hope you were proud of him if he was good.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
But I walked the hell right around and checked out there. I was totally Molly Ringwalling in that
Poor
moment.
Guy.
I know, he didn't know.
Well,
but like,
he does now.
Well, hopefully he's not listening, because he's amazing and so much more talented in multiple ways than I am. But like, I was just like, oh, my cousin is breakdancing in the middle of the mall in New Hampshire for like money. I think he was getting money, and like he was about to get kicked out because that was illegal, and I just booked it right out of there.
Man,
I was
I'm kind of disappointed in you.
I'm disappointed in me, and that's an embarrassing moment for me.
And you know, cardboard wasn't as easy to come by back then.
There was no Amazon.
That's right.
Oh my
Those
God.
big boxes that were big enough to breakdance on were pretty rare.
All right, Dee says that Carrie the facial expressions while Sean is talking.
That's because she doesn't respect me at all.
I do. I love you.
You might, but you don't respect.
And Dee said, your books are awesome. The Need series is my fave, which is a very kind thing of you to say. And Kat just says, LOL, which is pretty much my whole entire life. Kat, thank you.
And thank you for being here, Kat.
Exactly. And Dee says, I got mine in Europe. Everyone told me I had chocolate on my pants, and I didn't realize it was my period for a few hours.
You know
so
what?
relatable.
It's relatable for dudes, too.
How?
Like, Somebody told me I had chocolate on my pants.
Did you poop your pants?
No, it was actually chocolate because I dropped it in between my legs while I was driving down in Florida, and it was so hot that it melted and got on my pants.
No, not the same.
Nobody's ever seen me poop my pants before.
I have. All right, so Kat says that happened to me in 8th grade while I was wearing white
That wasn't
jeans.
very nice.
Sorry, baby. So Kat, 8th grade, while she was wearing white jeans.
Well,
Kat,
of course. That's the only appropriate time to have that happen to you.
My bestie in middle school, whose name I'm going to try really hard not to say during the story, got hers during band in I think 7th grade, and she was wearing a white skirt.
Oh.
And it was full on panic for all of us because we were trying so hard to figure out how to hide this from the rest of the evil 7th grade world of tormentors. Because that's how our culture is. We're not oh, whatevs. We're oh, titter, 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 blah, 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 right? And I remember, there was this distinct conversation where we were just tie this other girl's jacket around your waist.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
I think that's what I did for you.
But we were all, you did. But we were also oh no, if you tie the jacket around the waist, everybody's going to know why you tied the jacket around the waist. And it was this huge kerfluffle of panic over this really natural biological thing that had happened.
That's right.
Why are we so embarrassed by that?
It shouldn't be a big deal, should it?
No,
But I mean, to anybody high school or below, it's definitely going to be a big deal, unfortunately.
But if you think about that, biological functions, the burping, or let's say you're in a fancy place and you poop pop or expel gas out your rectum, everybody acts like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I know.
But these are all natural things. Why are they embarrassing? I guess that's the quote.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't mind a good fart in front of people.
My mother,
go ahead.
You weren't even allowed to say that word in my house.
I'm almost to the age where I can stand in the grocery store line and just let it rip.
No, don't do that,
totally
baby.
Ignore it.
No, baby, no. No, don't reach that. Don't reach that level. Fiona says, oh no, shared trauma anyway. Dee says, I had a show choir performance in high school. We had these sparkly, I was in show choir too. All right, we had these sparkly sleeve dresses, as most choirs do. Well, I put the dress on to realize I forgot to shave the night before. My dad had to come check me out so I could shave before performing in front of the school.
You know what? I gotta say.
Oh no.
That's not a big deal. It sucks that you had to be embarrassed about that.
It does.
But my main point is, how can you wear those fucking outfits?
Language.
Sorry. Without an undershirt or something. Doesn't that bother, like a sequined band?
It hurts,
man. Doesn't that bother your skin?
Yes. So when you're wearing from my times with Aunt Patty, which were not enough times, God bless her heart. What I remember the most about the sequined outfit is how uncomfortable those were. How they cut into you and how heavy they were, and just how painful. You are so lucky, Sean Kelly, that you never had to do that.
What?
Wear a sequined outfit.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that.
I know.
And they must be heavy too.
So there's this thing on Board Panda, and it's a study on awkward situations and how to deal with them, which I found really interesting. And basically what they're saying is they quote a PhD, blah, 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 named Susan Krauss Whitborn, who studies, she's a professor emerita of psychological and brain sciences at UMass Amherst, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she says basically that whether you're a repeat offender or only occasionally find yourself in an awkward situation, it's helpful to know how to navigate that, right? And recover from the embarrassment of that situation, right? And then there's this other guy named John J. And he's What?
Nothing. Because I
I-
can't remember the word.
Okay, so anyways, a John Jay College professor, Joshua Clegg, says defining socially awkward situations as problematic instances of social affiliation bases his work on the theory that most people have this need to belong, right? So like when that awkward thing happens to you, you feel like you're not part of the group anymore.
What?
Yes. And so
I guess that
Whitborn
depends on your group.
So Whitborn says the desire for affiliation leads us to engage in self-regulation in which we are constantly on the lookout to see what other people think of us. Like when we think that people are evaluating us negatively, our sense of self takes a huge hit, which is like typical of what happened to me with my adorable and very talented cousin Marky, who should have been Marky Mark, but somehow was not. Breakdancing. Like in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone's judging me from the rich town of Bedford that I live in, but I'm the poor kid because my cousin Marky Mark is breakdancing for tips in the mall in New Hampshire.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yes.
And this is serious.
Did you listen to anything?
Yes, I did.
I don't think you did.
Your cousin Mark, who should have been Marky Mark.
Okay, whatever. That
Okay.
was the easiest part. Yes.
Anyways, it's not about me. It's about the people that haven't heard these stories before.
Okay.
Are you ready for my question?
Yeah.
Here's my question.
Okay. Why is it always white clothing like Cat as? Because that's a brilliant question.
Because that's the optimum clothing to be wearing if that's going to happen.
Okay.
Well, my question to you is, because you're a woman, and we have many, I think, women listening.
All right.
And, okay, not many, but a few. All right, let's say you're like in high school or below, and you're hanging out with a bunch of people, right?
Oh God.
So if boys are down in the basement hanging out, and somebody farts, let's say, and then somebody else does, they're all going to be laughing at it, right? And then if some dude actually lets one rip that's really super powerful and accidentally sharts or something, he's going to jump up and be like, oh, I just S-worded myself. And everybody's still going to be laughing and making fun, right? It's going to be maybe a bad experience for that person, but it's all going to be in fun. Do girls ever get that, or are they always, like when it comes to like your period, or is it always so like such a stigma that you can't even make fun of it?
No, I think it's about your friends group, right? Like there's no one representation of the female body and the female experience. Oh, I sound very liberal right there. But there isn't, right? Like everybody has different friends groups and different experiences and different backgrounds that it's going to impact how that moment.
Okay, so you
happens.
grew up in the Northeast, so you never had that kind of friends group, I guess.
You're such a dick.
That was a joke.
That's such a dicky joke.
Can I read John's comment now?
Yeah. Let me go find it.
It's the next one down.
All right.
I got a date from a hot rich girl for giving her my jacket to cover her pants when she got her thingy.
He put that in capital letters, hot rich girl.
Yeah, in driver's ed class. It says, I hope Sean remembers when we went to Burger King and see her one night. When I picked her up, it was a castle off of Bayview Drive. Her dad wouldn't let her go out with her anymore after I picked her up with glass pack mufflers.
I have no idea what any of this
means. It's
means.
a really loud exhaust that he used to have on his Chevy two-wheel drive
a glass
truck that we ran
pack
crap
muffler?
Out of. Yeah,
okay.
It's just really loud.
What's a castle?
It was a big giant freaking house.
Oh, okay.
Like literally a castle.
Oh, all right.
Because she was rich.
Oh.
Man, was she a sweetie and beautiful. She liked me because I wasn't stuck up like the rich boys.
Oh, but her daddy wouldn't let it happen. That's very 1980s John Cusack, Molly Ringwald movie. That's so
something about those Burger King girls, dude.
What's a Burger King girl?
Well, she worked at Burger King, I think.
If she worked at Burger King, she wasn't all that rich, babe.
Oh no, dude! You don't understand. They like needed a job. They had to. Their parents expected to have them a job, so they had an easy job. We used to walk down to Burger King. It was quite a walk, and we had to cross the railroad tracks. And yeah, Because they used to have like 10 burgers for $5. So we'd go down there and we each get like 10 or 20 burgers. Because, to impress those Burger King girls.
I'm just saying that in my town, the rich girls did not go work at Burger King.
Well, whatever.
That was not the rich girls.
This was Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
All right. So Fiona says,
my boss husband and I were knocking boots stupid. My boss's husband and I knocked the Christmas tree over waltzing. We blamed the venue because they had the tree in the middle of the dance floor.
Oh my gosh.
That does seem kind of silly.
That must have been so funny.
Like, I suck at dancing. I probably wouldn't have knocked the tree over. I probably would have ended up dancing with the tree by accident to keep her from falling over.
You would have. Dee said it was definitely itchy, but unfortunately mine fit. Oh, it was just talking about the sequined outfit in show choir. But unfortunately mine fit in a way that basically had, in the words of Fergie, my lady lumps front and center.
That's another thing I don't understand.
Oh no! Dee.
What is it with the breast stigma with you girls in those pubescent years?
I don't know what you mean.
Well,
I don't know if I want to know what you mean.
Doesn't everybody get twitty-pated about their size, whether it's one way or the other?
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, we all did.
It's like being a kid sucks.
Yeah. Like
nobody can just be happy with himself. Sorry.
No, like when I was growing up, like one of my friends or classmates was Sarah Silverman, who's a comic and an actress now, right? Like, and I remember back in 8th grade, she was super focused on this other Carrie and her boobies.
Why?
She had boobies. That's other Carrie. I did, but they weren't. I hid mine.
Oh, yeah.
I was a very hide the boobies kind of, and I still am. I still am a hide the booby person. Yeah, like I'm still a hide the boobies person. I was never a Dolly Parton person, but this other Carrie was. And all these boys in our school were always pointing at this poor other Carrie's boobies and making a big deal about it. And so I think that's really why. I think that nobody, if you're a girl, wants to be defined by one aspect of their anatomy that makes their autonomy. Ooh, interesting. This is what happens when I have port. I'm drunk philosophical thanks to my Portuguese port. But yeah, like it's interesting to me, like how, like some of us were like, "Oh no, don't look at my lady lumps," and some of us were like, "Lady lumps," and some of us were kind of like in this weird in between space.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, culture. So Amanda says. Would you like to read this, John?
Sure.
Okay.
I was at a Christmas party with my stepdad's family, and we play a dice white elephant game.
Wait, what's that?
I don't know.
I want to know, and I also kind of want to be there.
I knocked my great-grandma's wig off mid-game by accident, trying to grab the dice, reaching over her shoulder. It was her first Christmas with a stepdad's side. I was so embarrassed. That's a good one, actually.
That's so mean.
That's a real good one.
I would do that because I'd be so into the game that I'd be like.
Carrie would do that.
I would totally do that, Amanda, you and me.
Then you wouldn't see her for the rest of the night.
Yeah, because I'd be hiding in the bathroom because I'd be mortified. But oh my gosh, that's amazing. So Susie says, I'm sorry, I'm trying to not live that in the experience of Amanda, and it's hard for me. So Susie says, I was at a local fair back in the 1980s. I was seated next to the local district attorney's wife when a young woman showed up with a purple mohawk, nose ring, and tattoos. I leaned near the judge's wife and said very sarcastically, I bet her parents are proud of her. And she said to me, we are. Oh, no! Susie!
Oh, that might be the winner for the night right there.
The young woman was her daughter, and I just wanted the ground to open up and take me straight to hell. My daughter taught me a lot. Her daughter taught me a lot about not judging people before getting to know them. She was smarter. Oh no, we don't have the rest of the comment right this second. Hold on to that comment. Dee said, so in our choir, no other girls' dresses fit like mine. Their dresses were all baggy. Mine was very fitted and very obvious.
Oh no.
Dee. Poor little baby Dee. Sean, you want to read Amanda's? I'll go see if I can find the rest of Susie's.
We bring white elephant type of gifts wrapped and put in the middle of the table. We roll dice, and if you get doubles, you take a gift. You can also steal gifts. So it's kind of like a Yankee swap. Sort of.
I kind of want to go to Amanda's house.
Last time we went to a Yankee swap.
Oh, God.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So Amanda's... I'm sorry. So Susie's rest of her comment was, her daughter taught me a lot about not judging people before getting to know them. She was the sweetest, smartest person.
That's awesome.
It is. And you know what is also awesome?
What?
Is like, Susie is like, hey, this moment I kind of failed as a human in accepting other humans.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be open about it. And I still remember it. I still remember what it taught me. And that's like the biggest, best thing I think you can ever have as a person. You know, like that moment where you're like, oh, wow. I wasn't as loving, not necessarily loving for Susie, but like as loving or as like non-judgmental or as kind or as accepting as I should have been. And then to take that, to remember it, to own it, to not repress it like I would, and then to give it back as this moment of growth, like that's so powerful. Like that's amazing to me. Like
I'm glad I live up to your standards, baby.
When we did the Dear Bully,
anthology.
The Dear Bully anthology, there's all these stories, true stories of all these authors who are so brave and share their stories about being bullied and being hurt or being the bystander. But the ones that resonate the most for people are the ones where, and there's only a few, where the people were like, I was the bully.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I can see that.
To admit that you messed up, that you were not perfect, that you were flawed, and to acknowledge that and to acknowledge the ripples that come from that, and then to own that, and then to move from that to grow. That's like the most powerful thing, I think.
Did any of them say at the end of their story, I still am?
No, they didn't say that.
I liked it.
No.
All right, look. We've been talking too much because our people are telling these other stories.
I know, it's so sad. So Fiona said, when I was in elementary school, I mispronounced Grand Prix. I had never heard it before, so I said it how it was spelled, which is probably Grand Prix.
Carrie says that all the time.
I do not.
Without the S sound. That's a Grand Prix.
Oh my God. Hey. Muhammad, hey Muhammad. He says Muhammad. Hi.
What?
And Fiona, D is telling Fiona, when I was in middle school, I mispronounced sugar cane. I was tired and the teacher made us read it aloud and I called it sugar cane.
That's all right.
Oh, D.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
I bet you were adorable. Sean, what's your most embarrassing moment?
I'm not sure exactly what my most, but the ones I've thought of the most since we came up with this topic have all involved vomit. And I was thinking about how what you were just talking about, how an intelligent person learns from their moments. And I learned that if you got to vomit, don't do it in front of or on people, especially ones you care about.
Oh, no.
Or you think you do.
Are you going to tell a story?
No.
Sean.
What?
Come on.
I've got 3.
Well, just tell one that relates to what you just said.
Okay. Well, the first one doesn't really involve anybody I cared about, honestly. I've told this story before.
Okay.
I'll tell it again.
Okay.
There was a period of time in my life that I enjoyed going to this club in Fort Lauderdale that was a rave, like a EDM type of music club.
Okay.
And one night, I went there, and I got really, really drunk. And this club was set up sort of like our local YMCA basketball court, where they had a second floor, but it was just a ring around the dance floor with a railing.
Yeah.
And I got really like feeling nauseous there, and I was with a couple of people, and we were all standing there on the rail, and I vomited over the rail.
No!
Onto all the people on the dance floor, yeah.
No, that's so bad.
I know, that's why we left immediately.
No, Shawnee.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna change the topic because
I got more.
No.
Okay.
Really? Okay, just
no,
go.
No, you change the
go.
topic.
No, just
No,
go.
you change the
No,
topic.
just go.
Change the topic.
No, just go.
Okay. Well, another one was from like my first summer here in Bar Harbor. There used to be a 24-hour restaurant in town called the Acadia Diner. You remember it? Huh?
No.
Yeah, you do. It would have been alive when you were here. Anyways, I was out drinking after work one night.
This is terrible.
Must have drank quite a bit. And I ran into this coworker of mine who was a female, and we decided after bar closed to go over there and get something to eat.
Time out.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you that you relate stories like a cop telling an incident report?
Okay.
I ran into a coworker of mine. She was a female.
No, I was just trying to tell you that's all it was.
Okay, you're not like, hey.
I wasn't trying to like hook up with her or anything. But so we're sitting in, it was a regular booth type diner booth, and we're sitting there.
Help me.
We're eating food.
Uh-huh.
And I vomited, but I caught it all in my mouth.
Oh, that's even grosser.
And
Poor Jennifer Diane.
And I ran outside to the alley on the side of the building, and I let it all out and puked some more. And then I went back inside and finished my night. Because I'm a trooper.
I married you.
I know.
What was I thinking? I didn't know this. Okay.
That you like an adventure?
Oh, not that kind of adventure. So on board Panda, and the link will be in the podcast notes.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of embarrassing stories that don't involve vomit. And one of my favorite ones is this one because it's so relatable to me. Ready? Because it's something I do all the time. So CW posted, I think maybe on Twitter.
Can you see your screen?
Yeah.
I have my hand up like a Zoom meeting.
What are you talking about?
I just want to acknowledge that Jennifer Diane is here, and I want to apologize for her coming in during my vomit story.
You should totally apologize.
I did. I just apologized.
That poor baby.
I know.
Okay. She missed all the show choir stuff, which would have related to her, but no, she came in on
all the show choir and period stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but no, she came in on vomit. All right, so anyways, on board Panda, here's the story that I relate to because it's pretty much something that happens to me every day that I leave the house. So CW wrote on Twitter, a few years ago, my parents stopped at a rest stop so mom could use the facilities. A minute later, another woman got in and didn't notice until Dad said, "Look, I can only take you as far as Chicago." Her husband was cracking up in the other silver Toyota Camry. So we live in a place called Bar Harbor, Maine.
Yeah.
And there are a zillion trillion Subarus in Bar Harbor, Maine. Like it is the car of Bar Harbor, Maine.
Yes, it is. I think it's the car of Maine.
And there are so many times that I've gotten in the wrong Subaru in the grocery store parking lot in Bar Harbor, Maine. Like
you can literally come out of the store and there's like 6 Subarus the same color as yours in the parking lot.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And I've gotten in them. I've been like, why is my key not working? What the heck? I've hit the key fob outside of these Subarus. I've gotten in the wrong Subaru, looked in the passenger seat and said, that's not my purse. Whose purse is that? It's just this thing. And it's so embarrassing when it happens. And one of my favorite embarrassing getting in the wrong car stories, should I tell that?
Surely.
Okay, so I was on book tour and I was in Austin, Texas, I think. And I was with another writer whose name is Justine Larabeister. She's from Australia. She is very confident as a human being, and very tall compared to me. And I was not very confident and not very tall. And we were talking to our handler, who was like from the publisher, trying to make sure we were good and behaved. And our handler at this point had had enough of us and was just like, go do your thing. I'm going to go watch The Bachelor in the hotel and I don't want to have anything to do with you. Just go into this white Silverado or Chevy Blazer or something. They're coming to pick you up and take you to the next event, right? So Justine is like, I hate her. And I was like, she's just trying to do her best, like blah, 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 goody, me. And Justine's like, I want to get out of here. I hate them. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And so this car comes up and Justine's in like her very alpha power mode, like, and I'm kind of like in awe because she's like this gorgeous goddess of awesomeness, right? Just so confident, so amazing. And a white, whatever, Chevy.
In that time frame, it would have been a Suburban or a Tahoe.
Okay, whatever, one of those things comes into like the curved driveway of this very fancy hotel. And Justine's like, get in, Carrie, get in. I'm like, okay, I'm Beta, I will get in. And like, she like hops into the passenger seat. And I open the door and start to hop into the back seat. But it's just filled with like car seats and things. Like, it does not look like the handler's car that takes care of you when you're on book tour. And this woman with this huge blonde hair and this huge Texas accent says, honey, what are you all doing trying to get in my car? And we're all like, what? Aren't you going to take us to the book festival? And she's like, I don't know who the hell you are, but you are in Texas right now. And if you jump into somebody's car, into a stranger's car, you're going to get shot. And we were both like, oh! And we jumped out of the car.
Yeah.
Justine was like, wah! And I was like, I'm so very sorry. And I tried to explain it all. And she's like, honey, I just don't want you to die. And like, that was it. But it was one of the most embarrassing moments, other than my skirt falling
Did the real
off.
car ever come along?
Yeah, it did. It was like 2 cars behind.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
But it was so horrifying.
I'm sure it was.
And whenever I tell anyone from Texas that story, they're like, oh my God, you're so lucky. You're so lucky you didn't die right there, Carrie.
Lucky girls.
But that's one of my most embarrassing moments, getting into this like person's car, feeling like, yeah, I'm with Justine. I'm powerful. I'm strong. Oh, whoops. Like, it was horrifying. All right, we have another story from Susie. You want to share it?
Sure.
Okay.
It is really embarrassing when you get in the wrong car and look over and an elderly woman is in the passenger seat. We chatted a few minutes until her son showed up.
There's something so like universal about that, right? Like that, like
Getting in the wrong car?
yeah,
And
like
somebody else being in there?
yeah, because like you're like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be, but then right? On that Bored Panda post, they talk about deciphering embarrassing stories and like how you can gain insight to that feeling of being socially awkward via like a narrative study, right? So like you take an instance of embarrassment and then like if you're like a psychology student or a psychologist, you create like this semi-structured interview where you allow people to kind of go on and on about their embarrassing stories, but you also like kind of guide that narrative, right?
Yeah.
And when they did that, they were looking for common themes of the stories, right?
Did they find any?
I think that they kind of did. Like they found that like the social environments that were involved were really important to how embarrassed people were. So like would I have been as embarrassed if I wasn't with Justine and on book tour versus just me randomly like jumping into a car at the Hannaford parking lot? Like, would that have made as much of an impact on me? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I think that's interesting because there's that like,
I don't think it would have not here.
well, no one would have told me they would have shot me.
They probably would have given you a ride.
I know. One of my favorite embarrassing stories has nothing to do with other people and is on that same Board Panda site. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's from someone named Jared Murray. And again, it was initially shared on Twitter back when Twitter was Twitter. And he said a friend had eye surgery. Even though his vision was still blurry, he went to a restaurant. He went to the bathroom where he saw a man approaching him. And they awkwardly did the no, you go, no, you go, no, you go, no, you go for 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But it turns out for the entire time, he was standing in front of the mirror talking to
That's just funny.
It's amazing.
That is so funny.
And then there's another story on there that kind of shows like the social aspect of like you're embarrassed because you feel like you may have hurt somebody else's feelings. And this one was from Lisa Ann Panda. And she said, I met this guy at a mall before a concert. We kept running into each other, so we decided to have lunch together. He asked me about one of the bands playing, and he gave a few bars of a song. And I said, I hated that song. He was the singer of the band. And I found that out at the actual concert. So I went to see one of the opening acts. So the headliner was of no interest. And when they were singing, he looked at me, dedicated the song to, quote, his friend from the mall who told him how much she loved it. End quote. I wanted to die, but he had a good laugh and he appreciated getting treated like a regular person. Like, and that's so funny and interesting to me because it's like that moment where you're like, I can just be candid and totally honest, and then your total honesty ends up hurting someone else.
Yeah, you never know who you're talking to if you don't know them.
Yeah. Dee said,
I was going to say the same thing. It's pretty well known you can get shot in Texas for getting in the wrong car. Sorry if that offended anyone from Texas.
And Fiona said,
now, this was a long time ago. This was about her mispronunciation of Grand Prix. She said Grand Prix.
Grand Prix.
Yep, high school crush. Not been there. It would not have been. It would have been less traumatic. Oh.
Babe, so all your embarrassing stories have to do with vomit?
Oh, probably not. But those are the ones I thought of on this short notice of like 5 hours.
So basically, if you go back to that Board Panda article, it says that tense or uncertain social situations are the first type of awkwardness. But there's other awkwardnesses that can happen, right? Like, so those awkwardnesses, I can't say that, awkwardnesses can be sudden, like, oh, I spilled something, right?
Yeah.
But also, like, it can be things that you anticipate, like meeting someone's parents for the first time, or meeting someone, like your significant other's boss, or like when you know the less about a situation, oftentimes your brain, especially if you're lean towards anxiety, will make it, you anticipate it to
In
be
a worse
awkward.
way, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
awkward or embarrassing, right? Like,
Yeah, I deal with that.
and then they also say, quote, awkwardness can take the form of a perceived transgression. For instance, like you imagine you say or you do something that goes over the boundaries of taste or propriety.
Right.
And like, that's really interesting to
That's
me.
why I keep my standards low for those things, so I can't mess up as much.
My favorite awkward, embarrassing story from this entire Bored Panda article is this one. Are you ready? Because I can totally see this happening in Bar Harbor, Maine.
Okay.
A friend left the bar, couldn't start her car. I tried. This is from Stephen the Adequate. I tried. Others try. 2 cops try. Turns out the battery's missing. She calls a tow truck and her parents to drive her home. They drive her up to her house, and what did they see? Her car. She forgot she got a ride to the bar.
It wasn't her car. That's hilarious.
She stole a car.
Basically,
Yep.
she paid the tow truck driver to steal a car for her.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Oh.
I think that's one of the most amazing stories.
I think that's a failure on the police's part.
It's a failure in so many ways.
Wow.
And there's like there's so many stories like that. There's so many stories that involve cars and people jumping in cars. Like another one from, I can't say the first name, but T. McGee said, a friend and I hailed a cab in a residential area. A guy slowed down. We jumped in the back and told him our destination. When we got there, we asked how much it was, and he said he wasn't actually a cab. He was just slowing down to turn into his driveway when we jumped in. Thank God he wasn't in Texas. That's all I have to say. But yeah.
Awful nice of the guy.
I know.
Let's read these. I like that one.
I know. And there's one more that I love.
Right.
And it's from Cosmic Kid. And it says, I was out at the park watching my 2 preschoolers on the climber when I spotted a toddler all by himself at the other play area. Where was his parent? I was appalled when I suddenly realized he was my kid. I forgot I had a 3rd kid.
Oh, Jesus.
So rough.
All right, we got a comment from D. Harris.
All right.
Let's read that.
All right, you read it.
It's always tense or awkward when you're at a friend's house and they're getting chewed out by their parents, and you're just sitting there awkwardly.
So true.
LOL.
So true. Did that happen to you, Shawnee? Because that happened to me.
The one time I can really remember very vividly, we've already mentioned in a previous podcast, John Bell told the story because it's his, but I'll tell it.
All right.
He would not get out of bed for nothing. Like, I'd go over to his house on the way to school to grab him. But this particular morning, he would not wake up. And his mom was the one trying to wake him up. But I went in his room because there was an exterior door.
Yeah.
And she was yelling at him and yelling at him. And then she disappeared. Like, she left the room. And she came back a minute later. And she threw a whole pitcher of Kool-Aid on him. Right in his face.
No.
To wake him up. Yeah. And I was like, oh, damn. I went right back out that door. Yeah, I think I went to school and checked on it later, but she was pissed.
When I was a kid, my best friend Jackie Shriver, best human in the world, for putting up with me and being my best friend. We were in high school, and she was totally in love with Bruce Springsteen. Like, Bruce Springsteen was her thing, right? Like he would come. Like
Bono was your thing?
No, it was worse.
Come on.
It was worse. Like, he would come on the screen on MTV, and she'd like touch the screen. Like, it was amazing. She was so in love with him. So he had this band called the E Street Band, and Nils Lofgren was one of the people in his band, right?
Yeah.
And Nils Lofgren went on tour by himself, but he wasn't like a big like
Attractant.
Bruce Springsteen was.
Right.
And we had a football game on the same day that Nils Lofgren was playing at a little tiny bar in Manchester, New Hampshire. So Jackie, and it was very close by. So Jackie and I snuck out of the football game, which is where our moms thought we were, and went to the venue where Nils Lofgren was playing. We could not get inside because we were not 21, but we just stood outside. It was such a goobery thing to do, but I was totally supportive of Jackie because she loved him, right? She just wanted that that connection. And they came outside and they were like, "Hey, what are you girls doing?" And we're like, "We just wanted to listen, blah 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 blah." And they're like, "You girls are so cool. We're gonna sing a song for you, the girls on the back stairs." And they did. They dedicated a song to us as the girls.
What Jackie did?
Oh, basically fainted. Fainted on these iron stairways, right?
Yeah.
But her bro told on her. I think he called their mom on a payphone and told on her, and her mom came screaming.
How did he know where she was?
I don't know. I have no idea. Her mom.
You guys made many errors that night.
Obviously, her mom came screaming into the parking lot in her car, like, "What are you doing? Oh my God, my baby girl is at this club." And we're like, "We're not even inside the club. We're in the parking lot." And she's like, "Ah!" Totally momming, right?
How old were you?
16 or 17.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
What is wrong with this story? What's the damn about?
Because the parents came looking for you.
Well, we're good girls. And so...
Holy Moses.
Anyways, her mom spent the entire ride home screaming. Her mom, bless her heart, because she's dead now, and she was a wonderful human being. But spent the entire ride home yelling at poor Jackie, right?
Yeah.
And we get to, and I'm so embarrassed. That's the whole point. Embarrassed because we're in this tiny car. Her mom's yelling at Jackie for lying and for.
And how are you doing?
And I wanted to die.
Curled up in the
pretty much. And I get home and I'm like, "Mom, I'm so sorry." And my mom's like, "What the hell? Who even cares?" You're like,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
Jesus, when John and I were 16, 17 years old, the only cars creasing up would have been the girls' parents.
My mom was like, "Did you drink?" I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Well, who cares?
Right.
We're you gonna go back to the game?" I'm like, "Yeah, at the end. We were gonna
We're gonna follow through on the lie."
Yeah. And my mom's like, "Yeah, whatever."
Jesus.
But poor Jackie got so yelled at. And it was just so embarrassing. That moment where you're stuck living in someone else's pain. That empathy that you have for them, it's awkward and often embarrassing, I guess.
It's after 8 o'clock, but let's read these last two comments.
All right, sorry.
Because the last one's got my attention.
Dee said I would have totally gotten my brother back later for being a narc. I know, wouldn't you? And my cousin Rhonda, hello Rhonda, said a payphone. Do we still have payphones? I don't think so.
No payphones. But so John and I lived on the same street, right? But we always hung out down by his house because he had a basketball court outside, a basketball goal.
Yeah.
And but literally from that goal to the nearest payphone was probably 30 steps, because there was a county recreation center at the elementary school across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that payphone saw a lot of those kind of calls. "Hey, Mom, I'm just checking in. Yeah, I'm over at so-and-so's house. Not John's, but whatever."
Rhonda Lee says we're aging ourselves here. Yes.
I know.
Yes, that's true.
Payphones.
But Rhonda knows how cool my mama was.
Yeah.
Her mama was cool too. Susie says, "Have a great weekend." And we
too,
hope
Susie.
you do too. And we hope that all of you, thank you for being here and hanging out with us. But also, we hope that all your embarrassing moments are worth it.
They are, because they build character and make you who you are today.
Oh, dude, you're so smart, man.
Carrie's going to finish up the rest of the report now.
No.
I'll send out a Facebook post in the morning.
And thank you very much to Stubby for the outro music. You should check him out. The end. Thanks
Have
for
a good
hanging out.
weekend, everybody.
Yay!
Thank you for listening to Loving the Strange. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, embrace the strange. New episodes every Saturday, live streaming Fridays. Go get your strange on, friends.